Good evening, I'm Jeff Lyons. It is 9 o'clock here on May the 27th, a Tuesday night, time for the First Alert Weather Show at 9 o'clock. I'm glad you're here tonight. And if you have questions, comments, anything you want to get off your chest, you can go to the comments section on the 14 News Facebook page. I'm watching those comments, and we'll check in with those a little later on here in the 9 o'clock weather show. Well, it was mostly cloudy again today. We had just a hint of sunshine there early this afternoon, and also a little drizzle at times. We have a few more showers on the way overnight, and then a gradual warm-up is working in here, and that should be a little more apparent by tomorrow afternoon. There is some light rain now coming up from the southwest, most of it just drizzle or very, very light showers. That'll be moving across primarily western Kentucky. Maybe a few little drips or drabs there, drips or drabs over Evansville, but that's about it. The other area of rain is back here to the west. And one thing to note is just how messy the map is. You know, for much of the spring, we had these consolidated systems where we'd have a cold front and storms organized moving through. This is just kind of one of those maps where everything is just stirred up enough to rain, but not enough to really do much of anything. Except for the south, we've still had some severe weather there. For tonight and tomorrow, no risk for thunder, even though we might get a little rain. And then Thursday night going into Friday, we may hear some thunder as our next weather maker moves through. Let me show you how this plays out. So tonight through tomorrow morning, a little light rain around and about. Again, this isn't going to be everybody gets a quarter of an inch of rain. This is going to be, you know, Hobstock gets a tenth of an inch, and over here at Fairfield we get a little bit. So just kind of, you know, hit or miss showers out there. Be prepared for rain. If you're lucky, it won't rain on you. We are expecting some clearing by the afternoon, which will be a nice change there. We'll get some sunshine and temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. And then Thursday, we start out dry in the morning, but by the afternoon and evening, we cloud up again, maybe a few showers or even thunderstorms overnight Thursday into Friday before we dry out again. Temperatures around the Great Lakes region cooled today because of the cloud cover. Right now we're at 66 at Evansville, about the same as Detroit there. A little bit warmer to our south. Typically this time of the year, the low for the day is around 60 degrees and the high is usually around 80. And we've been coming up a little short on the highs and not getting quite down to those lows at night. Right now we show 64 in Lewisport, 66 in Henderson, 68 in Mount Carmel. And today we made it up to 69, keeping in mind that the normal high is 80 for this time of the year. And as I mentioned, we dropped almost to the normal low. We were at 61, and typically it would get down to 60 degrees. We did take a step back from yesterday's 76, but recall we had some sunny skies, at least for the first part of the day on Monday, before we clouded over again. And looking down the line here, we still have 4 more days this month to pick up a little more rain. We may get some of that rain on Thursday night. Otherwise, we will finish out the month with near normal or slightly above normal rainfall. Our year is still at a surplus as well. And May kind of buck the trend there. We are cooler than average, at least as of now. Tomorrow's highs, a little bit of an improvement. We get back into the upper 70s, mid to upper 70s. And you'll notice, though, the map is still somewhat unsettled with more scattered showers moving through. I guess the silver lining to these clouds is we haven't had severe weather. I mean, it could be much worse, and it has been much worse in the south with severe weather moving through. We've just been in the wrong spot here for any real active weather. So instead, we get kind of cloudy, few showers at times, and that's what will happen again later tonight. Tomorrow, we're mainly clear. And then on Thursday night, early Friday, we have this other system that'll move through, and that should segue into a mainly dry weekend with high temperatures then in the mid to low to mid 80s there Saturday through early next week. The longer range GFS still highlighting that rain there Thursday night, early Friday, and then maybe some scattered showers on Friday, Saturday dry, until late, scattered showers again, and then dry into the first part of next week. Sometimes the models overdo, even if it's just drizzle. This looks like, it could be major rain, but I think just mainly drizzle or unsettledness out there. There's that Thursday night, early Friday rain, and then the European also bringing us a few scattered showers over the weekend, but generally dry for all. 59 degrees tonight with scattered showers, and tomorrow we will get that temp up to 76. It'll be partly cloudy with clearer skies during the afternoon. No first alert weather days, so that's a good thing, and warmer temps there as we finish out May and start June on Sunday. And it looks like that first week of June we will see warmer than normal temps, so anything above 82 would be warmer than normal and drier than normal too. All right, we're going to give our pet pick its due presentation. Last night I kind of botched it here, so I didn't want to just have some ham-handed picture here of our pet pick. This is Oliver. Kayla Mohan, I believe, Mohan sent this in. And if you were watching the First Alert Weather Show yesterday, kind of botched it, had it upside down, and this, that, and the other. So, that holiday brain fog. All right, we'll go back to that in a minute. We'll let Oliver stare down at us here while we check your comments. See what's going on with everybody out here. Jennifer Peacock just came back from vacation in Missouri, and it was rainy and thunderstorms. Fishing wasn't good either. Well, you just struck out all the way around. I've heard sometimes the fish will bite, depending on the rain, of course, if it's safe to get out there. Faith Daman, why is 14 weather app and online forecast so different on rain percent? It's because we hand forecast and do our percentages here on the air, and we try to tailor and trim the ones that go out on the First Alert app. It depends on where you are. If you're out of our immediate viewing area, then the AI or the computer sets the forecast, and we can't control it. We can only tailor the forecast for our basically our television viewing area. So if you're outside of that, it's different. If you're inside of it, then it just sometimes the way it's set up, it will override our forecast in there and give you some wild percentages. And the hard thing too, and not only the app, but anybody forecasting here, this is very hard rain to accurately express what it's going to be like. Like if I say a 30% chance of rain, most people would think, and I would think, oh, okay, well, yeah, we might get a few showers tomorrow. But what it really means, at least in the environment that we're in, is it's going to be very light, very scattered, and very low impact kind of rain. There's like 30% and then there's 30%. And I know that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me either. But anyway, that's why. So we try to overwrite the app's forecast, but sometimes it will overwrite us. The computers are taking over. I know it's May, but has this year been rare for this much rain? Adam Lewis. Not too rare. We've certainly had wet years, especially in the last 20, and wet springs. And so this is up there with them. Now, I think our rainfall surplus for the year was about 5.5 inches, and for the month it was a little less than an inch. So, yeah, we'll be like in the top 10 wettest Mays in the last 30 years. But if you go back to period of record, it's not going to be too exceptional unless something really crazy happens by the end of the week. In our Science Corner tonight, I wanted to talk briefly about weather satellites. We just take these things for granted, even when you look at the app or you're watching here. We're always showing pictures of the clouds and moisture and all kinds of stuff. Well, these pictures come from someplace, and that someplace is outer space. We have NOAA has 18 satellites that are in orbit around the Earth, and they provide us with the satellite imagery that you see. And actually, you own those satellites, right? The taxpayer money has paid for these things. NOAA is, of course, part of the government, part of our tax whatever, and of course the idea here is to keep us all safe and informed. So we have these satellites that orbit the Earth. Now, two of them go this way. They go over the poles, and they provide information about the ozone layer, for one thing, and temperatures, airflow, etc. And in some cases, they can discern wind direction, kind of like a weather balloon would do, just not as detailed. And then over the United States and actually over the Earth, we have several different kinds of satellite imagery. One is visible sat, and you see what was left here of the visible sat before the sun went down. We can only see those clouds when the sun is out. The other kind is infrared. We can see that 24 hours a day, but that is a reflection of the heat, or in this case, the coolness of the clouds aloft. Another very important channel that the satellites provide is the water vapor channel. And especially out here over the Pacific Ocean or any place, we can see where we would have a fetch of moisture that may provide heavy rainfall or landfalling storms if we need to be concerned about those. So the vapor channel, very important to use, helps us to determine sometimes where we might see a flooding risk. In addition to that, we have other sensors on the satellites which can detect black carbon or smoke, soot, aerosols in the atmosphere. And these can show us where we have fires going right now. In fact, you can see a few up here in Canada. So this is useful in determining sometimes if the air quality is going to be unhealthy downstream from where the satellite is seeing those. So just something to think about. We can't take our satellites for granted out there, working around the clock up in space, giving us weather information that we need. But sometimes it's good to know a little bit about how those work too. And they are actually orbiting at about 22,500 miles out in space. So they are in what we call geosynchronous orbit. They are going around and basically staying over the same spots on the Earth, which is why we can get frequent updates on those pictures during severe weather. And it has been a game changer since, the 1960s for hurricane forecasting and for severe weather forecasting too. All right, on 14 News at 10, undoubtedly I'll have more satellite pics for you. But we will also have a look ahead to our chances for rain in the morning and when we will finally break out of the clouds and get into the clear skies. Of course, I've already told you it'll be toward the end of the weekend and early next week that we finally get into more of a summer consistent pattern. At least that's what the models are telling us tonight. So I appreciate you watching. As always, stay safe. We'll see you on 14 News at 10.